As I went through this week of like, someone asked me why I wanted to have a baby, and then finding that email from the woman who was like, this is my why, and connecting with the why and being okay with being a badass, to now asking myself, what does great look like and how can I help get to great? Thanks for clicking on Simply Tanika. I am Tanika. If you are new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Let's hang out a while. If you are returning, welcome back. Let's get those babies, ladies. I see the crystal raindrops fall and the beauty. What's up, fertility fam? How are you? All right, it's Friday. I wasn't even meant to vlog today because I put up the bone broth video, so you'll see this on Saturday, but I did want to come out and couple of things. So I weighed in this morning and I was a little disappointed and I couldn't remember my number, so I just spent time trying to get my scale synced back to the Wi-Fi, but I went back to my videos, thank goodness I had those, and saw my previous weight. My body fat is down though, so I'm okay with that, but I definitely want to see the scale move in the right direction. Like, I want to get the 22 pounds down, or as close as possible. So I've made a spreadsheet. I've put down like how much I need to lose per week, and I'm going to work on that, and that's going to be that. And I'm not going to beat myself up about what's in the past. I'm going to look forward and keep my eye on the prize. I went this morning, which is why I didn't work out, to this event at work. There was a woman named Cy Wakeman, and I actually have to look up her book because I definitely want to get it now. The event was called Post Me Too, and it was meant to talk about conversations in the workplace and like how we all are feeling. And we had to take, it was put on by the Women's Network, one of the employee resource groups, and I was an invited guest. It was invitation only, and I was asked to bring a male coworker, so I brought my manager, and we went. It was amazing. I thought it was going to be like awkward and weird, and it was none of that, but she said a lot of things. She's a psychiatrist. She's funny as hell. She's got 8 boys, so hats off to her. She's a badass by any stretch of the imagination, and just a great speaker and very motivational. But some of the things that she said resonated, and I wanted to share it with you ladies, and that's why I was that's why I ended up with a little vlog today. So some of the things we talked about, I'm gonna say this and then I'll give context. The biggest mistake we all make is believing what we think. The biggest mistake we all make is believing what we think. She talked about the ego, and I go to a therapist, and some of you may or may not, or had a psychology class, but the ego is the thing in our brain that's sort of like screaming and needy and demanding, and when the ego doesn't get its way, it starts making up stories. And let me just give you an example of, like, because what the example she gave us. You see someone in the morning at work and they don't say anything to you, they walk by. What do you think of that? The ego, the little child, jumps on the floor and starts ranting and starts making up stories about why that person didn't say good morning to you. That person doesn't like you, they're out to get you, there's something else going on. The ego then needs to be validated and has you go and tell that story to someone else. And depending on who you tell and who you surround yourself with, they will affirm this negativity, right? They will say, oh yeah, you know, so-and-so Ralph hasn't liked you in a long time. That's probably why he didn't speak, and blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of get it. Now the ego feels good. It likes to be miserable. And it's all a story because there's no facts in there. Right? It's something that we've made up in our head. There are no facts. We have no indication that Ralph doesn't like us. We have no indication, and if we are coming from our best place, we will give Ralph the benefit of the doubt. Maybe his mother died that morning. Maybe he forgot his contacts and he didn't recognize you when you were passing. Maybe he was preoccupied with something else. But the ego can't consider those things because the ego imagines that we are the most important thing in the world, and we have to get over ourselves. We're not. And so some of that happens. So I think sometimes, at least for me on the TTC journey, I start making up stories. So this was just a good reality check for myself. Like, if I get a negative test, I can't go to a place of like, I will never get pregnant, because there's nothing to support that. There's no data. Like, that is the ego taking over and telling stories, and the ego likes to tell stories. And then I find other people who will reinforce that, or other people who are also feeling the same way. Not that they're telling me that I won't get pregnant, but they're also feeling like they won't get pregnant, and then we commiserate, and we have like this negative exchange. We don't mean to, like, we feel like we're supporting each other, but we're really not. So I just wanted to put that out there so we could all be mindful. And one of the other things that she said to us is like, when people start complaining and going on, and this again is about the Me Too movement, and people are like afraid and are putting their heads down and don't want to, you know, do anything. There's like sort of this area, and she charted it all out, and she calls it, they become BMW drivers, and the BMW stands for bitch, moan, and whine. And so that's what they do, and they feel justified, right? Their ego is confirmed once they start bitching, and then you just kind of get in this vicious cycle. So if you are down here in this bottom arc, and she did a 4 quad, and you move yourself up over to here where you're more evolved, your thinking is more evolved, you're more willing to try and risk and be better, you rise above it and you ask yourself, well, what does great look like? What does great look like? And then you set about answering that, and you aspire to be great. And so for me in my fertility, what does great look like? It looks like rewarding myself for the work that I've done. I've worked really hard this week and other weeks for the weight loss, and celebrating that, continuing to work toward it, continuing to partner with my healthcare professionals. You get the point. There are things that I can be doing to figure out what does great look like, and what can I do to get the situation to great. Because BMW, bitching, moaning, whining, not going to get me to great, not going to get me where I might feel good for a little bit, kind of, but not really. So it really resonated with me as I went through this week of like, someone asked me why I wanted to have a baby, and then finding that email from the woman who was like, this is my why, and connecting with the why and being okay with being a badass, to now asking myself, what does great look like, and how can I help get to great? So there's something else I took a picture of my handwritten notes. Yeah, so ego fills in the story. So when you're in BMW mode, bitching, moaning, and whining, check yourself for a minute and say, you know, what about this story is based in facts? 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be. It's going to be your ego wanting a story, wanting that drama, and feeding it to you, and you get carried away. I do it. So then the other thing that she said, when I stop judging, I can start helping. For me, this is important. I'm not a big judger of other people. I judge myself. And so I think I get in the way of helping myself. I judge myself of, you didn't try hard enough, or you did. I focus on the negative aspects, and I work like a beast. I mean, in all things. Shell, TCC Bella teases me because she was like, I'm the only person who could make 36 hours out of 24. Like, how do I get so much done? I am a super productive, high energy human being by nature. Sometimes I think I take that for granted. Like, not everybody moves that fast. And then when I'm like working with other people, I realize like, oh my God, I'm Speedy Gonzalez. So, and it's good work. Like, I'm not just slopping through stuff. So I have to stop judging myself and start helping myself, right? And like, what can I do to support myself? What needs to be done to get pregnant? And I started it. I have the goals, and I had enough presence of mind to realize that I had to write the goals down and work toward those goals. But I think in doing it, there was a part of me that was begrudging it, which is why I was like, oh, the IVF and the and all the stories I was telling myself, oh, and my body failed and blah, blah, blah. Well, there are no facts to support that my body failed. I just did not get pregnant. I don't have a lot of time. There is this science that will help me do it. Why not do it? do it and see what happens. Stop bitching and moaning and whining. So I don't want to be a BMW driver anymore. I want to figure out, what does great look like, and how can I help? Stop judging, start helping. What can I do to help? And then the ego likes to vent because it likes to avoid accountability. So the ego likes to do the BMW driving, bitching, moaning, whining, because then it's always someone else or something else or something wrong. In my case, it's a lot of it is external, internal pull, like, oh, my body is betraying me. So I'm blaming this sort of abstract body and not really being accountable for, you're trying to get pregnant at 47. There are going to be some obstacles. There are things that you can do to increase your odds. Work on that. Like, what can you do to be great? What can I do to make my opportunity for pregnancy, opportunity for a successful pregnancy great? That's what I need to focus on. Not feeding my ego and venting and then feeling satisfied because I've said how horrible everything is and how mean people are to me, and it's sort of what that one therapist, Michael Sands, was saying to me, like how there were a lot of external things that I were attributing fault to, but in doing that I'm giving away my power, right? And so I want to empower myself. I'm giving away my power because then if those things are impacting my life or that I can't get what I want, then they are more powerful than I am, or I am powerless or less powerful. And that's the last thing I ever want to imagine by myself. I am a powerful woman. I don't want to imagine about myself that I am powerless or have less power than anyone else in any equation. And there was a beautiful thing that she said. Once we become so evolved, we're not worried about our own power. It's about empowering others. And so that's where I want to get to, where I'm not worried about my own power. I'm empowering others. And so we're all working together. For now, I have to empower myself to say, you're doing okay. You are making good decisions. You're taking good care of yourself. And you are headed in the right direction and working on the things that you need to work on to have a successful pregnancy. So I think I'm going to start talking to myself a little more. But maybe, I don't know, I've got a full length mirror in there. I think I'm just going to put Post-its on that and say, you are doing okay. You are working really hard. And just affirm for myself that I'm doing okay and not let my ego tell myself these negative stories. And you guys know, I like the drama. We all like the drama. I like the story. I love it all. But if it's not productive, I don't have time for it. So, and I'm not going to be perfect, right? There will be moments when I vent. But then it's about making a conscious decision to snap back, right? It's not like it's going to be overnight. So, yeah, and the stress that we experience comes from the story, not the reality, which is also what the therapist, Michael Sands, said to me. Because he said the level of stress you're experiencing, not everyone who's going through fertility feels that level of stress. There's something about your own identity that is being challenged that is causing you the stress. And so the story and the drama is what's causing me the stress, not the reality of it. Because as time has gone on, I should be less stressed with the BFN than I was the first time because I've already experienced it. That first time should be the most anxious time. Just like if you're going through I don't know, like if you take a child to, what do you call it, where the ghosts pop out? Haunted house. If you take a child to a haunted house, that first ghost might scare that child shitless. Second ghost, like not as much. Third one, like, okay, I get it. Fourth one, like now there's a pattern or trope. By the time the child gets out, they're probably laughing, right? Because their mind has gotten used to what the reality is. So for me to get more and more stressed each time is because the ego and the story and the drama are taking over. It's not what the reality is. One more BFN doesn't mean I will never get pregnant. It doesn't. And subconsciously, I know that because otherwise I would stop trying. If I thought, oh, well, this means I can't get pregnant, why would I keep paying money to keep, that makes no sense, right? Like, when you say it like that, that makes no sense. Nor would the doctors, I presume, keep taking my money. Like, if there was no chance of me getting pregnant, I don't think, no matter how much I paid them, that Columbia would send me through an IVF process. It would mess up their stats. It would be a waste of time. There could be women that they could genuinely be helping that should be in that. So that's the reality. It was just very powerful what she had to say. I highly recommend looking her up. She is on social media. It's at Cy Wakeman. I'll put something here with her information on it. But it was really profound. It was really profound, and I appreciated the insight and the ability to transfer that information from work into my personal life. I want to be as evolved as I can. I work on it a lot through meditation and yoga, but I am human. And I think being aware of it and also remembering to surround myself with people who reinforce the positive things that I'm trying to do. I do not need to sit and moan about what is not working about my fertility. And not to say that I don't have a right to cry and be sad, because I do. I am going to allow myself those feelings, but I'm not going to wallow in it. It is a moment in time and it will pass. In the same way, you know, I have experienced great tragedy. My brother was murdered. I don't wallow in his death every day. It's not that I'm any less sad about it, but I have grieved and reconciled what happened. And so I've got to figure out how to do that. Because, and I say that not for shock value, but because, like, in therapy, I feel like every cycle is a little death, but that's also a little bit of a story, right? Because there's no fact. It's not actually a death. It's not like when I had a miscarriage, which I will say was a death. So maybe even in my own mind, that story of having that drama that heightened, I need to take it down. It's a loss, but not on the same, not of the same magnitude as a death. I don't want to diminish the people who have passed, and I've actually experienced that level of grief. So there, even that, I hadn't thought of that till just now. But yeah, so I am excited about this. I wanted to share that with you ladies. I thought it was so powerful. And gentlemen, I know there are gentlemen watching now. I have to start saying that. I look at the stats and we're 10% men now. Yay! That's the other thing. So in the event, we were talking about this and we were asked to bring a male colleague because we need advocates, right? So all of us women can't sit in a room and talk about post-Me Too and expect there to be real change out in the workforce. We have to have allies. And so I think on our fertility journey, we have to find our allies. So men, thank you for coming. I know that 40% of fertility issues are attributable to men. So I'm not saying men, thank you, as if you are not included in the fertility fam. You are welcome. But I think having allies and advocates on this journey is important. And so I encourage all of you to figure out who your allies and advocates are. I would love for them to come here. Please share this video with them so that we can all have this experience, because for us who are actually experiencing the infertility, it's nice to have someone to stand up for us when we get those awkward questions, or when we're around family members and they ask, so when are you gonna have kids? If you have an ally or an advocate in that room with you, they can kind of help navigate that conversation. I don't want to say rescue you, but advocate for you, right? And so let's figure out a way to build our allies and advocates and have them advocate for us and champion for us the same way that we do at work. At least in corporate America, it's necessary if you want to be successful and move up in the ranks. You need some advocates and allies, and a champion or two never hurt. So let's treat our fertility the same way. All right, ladies. Hopefully that was insightful. It was really profound for me, so I wanted to share it with you guys, but I'm a big, like, corporate nerd too. I love self-help and learning, and anyway, my intentions were good with sharing that with you, so hopefully it landed in a good place and you understand where I'm coming from. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you later. Bye. Baby, that's to you all. When the sun comes shining through.
to make those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometime.